This project started in October of 2020 after visiting one of our farmers in the Atherton tablelands. We were able to go to the Daintree and just see how irreplaceable of an ecosystem and how incredibly wondrous just that part of the world is. I mean, in terms of an area of Australia to encapsulate and support, it's the only place in the world where two natural wonders of the world meet. We have the Daintree rainforest, the oldest rainforest in the world at 180 million years old, nestled next to the Great Barrier Reef. And these two irreplaceable ecosystems bond together and feed each other. And out of it comes some of the most wondrous plant life in the world and some of the most rare and strange flavors.
To start thinking and brainstorming amongst myself, Nikki, and a little bit of Henry as well, I guess just what we think of when we have Davidson Plums and what they, I guess, represent to us from a flavour perspective, and the things that maybe they would or wouldn't be able to bring to a distillate. I guess because so much the first thing you note when you have a Davidson Plum is the intense acidity. It's obviously really, really quite tart, and kind of trying to marry that between what you can bring across the still and what people's expectations might be of a Davidson Plum Gin while still remaining true to the fruit. I guess plumminess to it to meet that expectation side of things like blood plum, rye berry, also got a little bit of sumac in there for that kind of thing, and then also sticking with kind of the, I guess, more abrasive sides of Davidson Plum, so we've got some yellow grapefruit in there as well. Those rye berries also play a little bit in that field as well, just bringing a touch of that acidity and roundness to the whole gin.
For us, we've been using Davidson Plum since the inception of Applewood. It's one of these botanicals you can't really go past. It's so otherworldly, it's so incredibly interesting and singular. The trees themselves, they grow straight up from the ground into gaps in the canopy and form this one umbrella of foliage where they photosynthesize from. And then the Davidson plums themselves actually grow in a corkscrew formation around the single trunk of the tree, and out of which comes these incredible fruits, hyperacidic, full of tannin, but incredibly generous in flavor and also incredibly generous in terms of nutrient as well. They form this really key part of an irreplaceable ecosystem that is ancient and rare, and that we should work really hard to conserve, and that we should work really hard to, rewild and grow and foster. Partnering with Rainforest Rescue is actually really important for that fact. These guys do incredible work with building rainforest corridors for not only existing habitat, but also helping to rewild areas of the Daintree that might have been lost.
There was a bit of a downtime in terms of when people were purchasing Davidson Plums, and a lot of the purchasing that still went on was through Uncle Toby's making their muesli bars. Apparently it was a pretty integral part of it, so that kind of lent some pretty nostalgic thoughts about Davidson Plums and what they might have included in, I guess, our childhood and our experience with them and just growing up in Australia. So when the time came to kind of build the bill out and we were looking for something to kind of ground it in that, we thought that adding a little bit of Simpson's Golden Promise malted barley would be a really fantastic idea, and that features pretty prominently throughout the gin.
Transported back to recess at primary school, eating Forest Fruits muesli bars, and it was this really wholesome experience and this really beautiful experience that was so emblematic of being Australian. And I think that's kind of one of those lovely and rare moments where you feel real pride in growing up here. And the gin itself is no exception. The gin is bright, juicy, rosy, elegant, full, robust, any kind of descriptive word that you want to use for, I suppose, a really positive experience of summer in Australia. We've done something with this particular gin I'm not really sure many other people have done before, and we've fermented our own fruit wine out of Davidson Plums from this area, and we've actually blended that fresh wine into the distillate as well. So it's crunchy, it's acid driven, it's designed to be shared, designed to be liberally applied with tonic in a really wonderful way. And I'm really excited to see how people use this gin and what it reminds other people of. I'm really excited of the stories that other people will tell from tasting this gin too, and how we can have that kind of shared experience of, a youthful summer in Australia. I think it's a really, really exciting gin.